Hello, and thank you for showing up to another episode of the Contractor Grow Show. This is Mark Lamberth, and today I have David and Arielle Shafshak from Innovolt Electric in Las Vegas. David and Arielle, thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. I've taken a look at you guys' business. You guys have got what looks like just a great business in Las Vegas. Work with residential, commercial, as well as industrial customers. Got a nice team, got a great website, great reviews. Looks like you guys are doing great work in the community. Maybe you could just tell our listeners a little bit about the kind of history of the business and how you guys have gotten to where you're at today.
Okay. Do you want to talk about it? Because a lot of the path leads with this guy.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I started out digging trenches just like any other electrician. Ended up partnering with, they brought me into the office to learn estimating and project management during the recession. And I learned the office side of it pretty quick. And then I partnered up towards the end of the recession and created a company with a partner. That partnership didn't work out too well. And so I broke off from that. We did Innovolt on its own. So
Okay.
I started out digging trenches and we ended up running it ourselves, basically.
Yeah, and you were service tech, so service side was really his passion.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of service in the field, and then when they brought me into the office, they taught me how to estimate and project manage projects. And so I learned that angle of it, and now I don't really go out in the field as much. It's just managing the projects.
Mhm.
So we've molded into a lot of competitive bid work type stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you talk on your site about having just a lot of experience. I mean, David, you've got a lot of experience in the field. I know, Ariel, you've got, I think maybe some closely related experience in the field, doing a lot of audio-visual work as well with a company that you own, founded. What represents all the experience on your team? I know it's David, you guys experience. I mean, do you also have people in the leadership positions on the team that are been in the field for quite a long time as well?
Oh, of course, I rely heavily on them too. My field experience is somewhat limited compared to some of the more experienced vets that we have working for us in the field supervision. The foremen that we work with have more experience than I do, and the superintendents who manage them have a lot more experience than I do. So I do rely on the expertise level. There's so much that I know, and then we rely on others to do the rest. There's certain parts of the business that I understand a little bit better than they do, and so that's where I focus my efforts on. But when it comes to field experience, I know where that's maybe part of my weak spot. When it comes to the AV side, the low voltage side, it's very heavily relied on the management that we have out there that are certified and trained in this type of work, where I am not. So to answer your question, I rely heavily on the people that have the experience. We are a large group, so we bounce ideas off each other and rely on each other.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So when we decided to open up the low voltage, first it started as a department within Innovolt, and then we realized that a lot of the competitors, the electrical competitors, didn't want to hire someone that would have Innovolt Electric shirts on. So we created the separate division, an actual separate company, and named it completely different. My maiden name. And then we grew it from there. And then now we've got a lot of the electricals who will actually use us as a sub. So, and the reason that we created the division is really we saw a need for it, and hired now we have an exceptional manager there, and same thing, like we rely heavily on him and his knowledge. And I would say we've learned as we've grown, at least a little bit AV side.
Interesting. So it's sort of a second division, but it's really under the same roof of Innovolt Electric is Ventura Integrated Systems.
Its own entity.
Its own entity.
They just happen to share an office because it's fun. It's collaboration. Both teams get along extremely well. And then there's a lot of projects that we're working together on. So it works. We've talked about moving out and getting our own building, but I don't know.
Electrical low voltage go hand in hand in projects, but not necessarily contracted together. So Ventura started off as Innovolt Low Voltage Services or System Integration, and just as a need of Innovolt itself, they need low voltage services. So we created a small division, and in time we started marketing to beyond just Innovolt. So
I see. Interesting. And for the AV work, I mean, do you have to get involved early in the process, the design process? Because I mean, that's something that starts way upstream of everything getting built out, right? I mean, how the AV is going to get properly designed in a project.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? I mean, do you need to get involved really early in?
yes, we do. There's multiple parts to AV and teledata and security and all that fun stuff. There's the design stage in the front. There's a lot of parts and smarts, but there's infrastructure install as well. Ventura currently is focusing a lot on infrastructure install because it comes as a part of the need of Innovolt and other electrical contractors. But as they do more, they're getting their feet a little bit more into the design aspects. In fact, today we're meeting with a property to go over their AV in the meeting rooms to help them design and install. So it's best to get in the beginning so you can get both the parts and smarts and the infrastructure. But even if you're designing and implementing AV systems, sometimes you're not installing the infrastructure itself. And that's where Ventura will play and install for those people.
Okay. Great. What's the size of you guys' team right now? Probably fluctuates up and down a little bit, but is it?
Yeah.
How many folks do you guys have on the team?
Well, for Ventura, we're looking at about 16 employees, and then for Innovolt, it's about 54. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So combined, yeah, it's a nice number. Honestly, we've been to the size where we had something employees. It's just for us personally, that gets to be a little too much, too many. Yeah.
Amazing. So, your website is great. We help company. We look at a lot of websites for, contractors and builders. And I love to see that everything's just sort of like in the right place, that the design of it is all laid out. What percentage of your business do you think comes from sort of referrals or existing relationships versus any type of marketing efforts and folks that have not heard of you guys before that may come in the door as complete strangers?
A lot. We actually, ironically, do not spend much on marketing. We've spent a little bit here and there. I would say probably goal for 2025 would be to uptick the marketing. But it's been relationship based, referral.
90% of our work is competitive bid projects. Those come from GCs and clients that return the same clients. Not the type of people that would go check out my website necessarily for a need, but more look at my license on the board's website. So doing that, kind of the website's not necessarily needed for the return clients, but service department, who is a group of 8 or so individuals who run about 10% of our revenue. And that's an area where we want to grow in, does rely on the website, does rely on word of mouth, of course. That's where we're getting some of our work now, but we want to grow their revenue numbers, and to do so, we're going to be doing so with the help of website, try and draw people towards it.
Yeah, more reviews. I think that's super important. I mean, just anytime I'm looking for a sub to come to my house, I'm reading the reviews, checking out the website.
Sure. And speaking of reviews, I noticed you guys have got really perfect reviews. I mean, you guys have got a lot of reviews and a lot of really happy customers. Curious about your sort of, QA process. I mean, you guys are clearly doing an amazing job. You've got a substantial company there in Las Vegas. I think you have probably a lot of the market share. I mean, what do you guys do to ensure that your team that's going out and working in the name of the company is doing such high quality work that folks refer you guys so readily and give you guys such good reviews?
I'd say it's culture.
Yeah, it's culture. It's the management that we have with them. We have a stellar manager of the service department that works pretty tightly with his crew. So it's not, I don't have to do the hand-to-hand every day, but he does. He deals with them every day, talks to them every day. There's training that happens almost every day. There's incentives for getting good reviews that we do. There'll be
a gift
little
card.
gift card for getting, if they get a good review. Ultimately, just keeping at it. You know what I mean? Being attentive to clients is kind of the biggest part.
Yeah, and if we do receive feedback that's not as positive, which honestly, fortunately, it hasn't happened quite often, but when we do, he and I get involved.
I trust you.
Yeah, I mean, we make sure. So I would say we're pretty dialed in.
Okay.
It's conversations.
Client satisfaction is really important to us.
Yeah.
The word of mouth is really important to us. So we do prioritize it. We're not out there marketing. We know that. So our reputation and our reviews are really important.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to make sure that every customer leaves happy.
Yeah, I can get that. I see that. What percentage of the business that you guys do is residential? I know that you guys do kind of all three different levels. I mean, is it mostly commercial and industrial, or do you guys do a fair amount of residential as well?
Well, I'd say our residential is down to like maybe 10%. It was much more closer to like 25, 30 back during the pandemic because we were doing some custom homes.
Yeah.
Done some custom homework, but now that the economy and the market's back to normal for the most part, we're back to what we do better, which is commercial. Yeah, we do still do residential more on the service side. We don't do new home construction so much, unless somebody came out and asked us as a favor. We probably wouldn't engage with new home construction, but our service department still does it. As mentioned, they do 10% of our revenue, and I'd say about half of that is residential.
Okay.
And I'd say in 20, so we are going to add to that though. I will say that's our goal for 2025 is to add more vans, open up leads, and start focusing more on the residential and the consumer service. Yeah.
Okay, great. And then, I mean, guys, having a team of sort of 70 people or so, a lot of the folks that we talk to in the industry and the trades, I mean, they really struggle with kind of building their team. If a team member leaves, replacing that team, but sort of recruiting, hiring, and then retaining their team long term. You've talked about this a little bit, sort of with the way that you incentivize, you have a good manager. I mean, do you have any other sort of secrets of how to sort of recruit and retain, top level team like you guys do?
To be honest, no. It's a task. It's basically
the hardest part.
One of the hardest parts of what we do, especially considering we are only 6 years old or so. We brought in a crew from my previous partnership and have been refining it ever since.
Okay.
We still have guys leaving, good guys leaving. We still have good guys coming, and it's still an ebb and flow type thing. But when we see the guys that we want to be part of our core team, we try to, it's a matter of pay and communication. Even just communicating with them and keeping them at a management level, keeping them involved on big decisions, keeps them interested. Sometimes a little bit more beyond money too. But obviously, cash is king.
Yeah, I mean, little things like we had, a foreman finish up a job. He did a great job. So we sent him a gift card so he could take his family out to dinner and just wrote him an email saying, thank you so much. So it's showing appreciation. It's them feeling supported. I could say we've noticed a tremendous difference when we did have someone in our super position and the guys just didn't feel supported. And we had a lot of good foremen leaving us and say the big change we made is switching out. We found an amazing superintendent and he really connects with them on a personal and professional level. And he really supports them. And because of that, he's been able to really build that team. So it's hard. It's difficult in this industry because most of our employees don't come into the office. We've got about 12 inside the office. So here we're really able to build that family. And I can tell you every employee says you guys it's a family here. We've got a family. That environment, we let people bring their dogs. Like it's fun. We're very laid back. they can wear sweats if they want to. I'd say on the field, that's where the challenge is, because you have to figure out how to make them feel connected to this company when they're not coming into the office. So that's really having an exceptional guy on the field who's connecting with all of them. And then we, have
focus on your core.
Yeah, focus on the core. Like
at the end of the day, of 60 guys, if by the end of the year 12 of them have changed out, we can't lose sleep about something like that. That's something that's part of the business, that's part of our industry, but there's a core team, and the core team, them involved, keeping them in communication. That's what's going to make you succeed and strive. So we've been doing that core team ever since we started, and we're not done yet. So just recently we had some supervision changes, and we're bringing more foremen into a salary position, so that they can be part of our team. They can feel part of our team. These are the core members that we want to keep it with us for a long time. So
Interesting. Okay. What would the size of that so-called core be? I mean, we're talking about sort of 5 guys, 15 guys?
About 15 guys or so would be with the core of about 60.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have individuals that they trust, journeymen that either come along with them or they start referring and telling them to come over. So they, in essence, build their little team.
Okay. Interesting. So almost sort of identifying that there's, say, 25% of your team, whatever that team size is, but really focusing on sort of keeping those people really long term and really taking care of whatever it is that they need, so that you keep that core really stable. And then, some folks are going to come and go inevitably, and you can't lose sleep over that happening.
Yeah. It's the nature of the business. Someone's going to give them 5 minutes more, they'll go. The job just doesn't pay for it. So or whatever reason. But I would definitely, it's culture. It's just finding the right people. That fit in with it.
Okay, great. And then, guys, I just doing some research and things, looking around. I always like to learn a little bit more about just folks, kind of what they're personally up to and doing. Are you guys really focused on the kind of Jewish community there in town? I noticed that you guys have got some different experience with that, and how are you guys involved in the Jewish community?
Ariel comes from a background of working with the Jewish Federation.
Yeah, when I first moved here, my family was very involved, and so because of my development and marketing background, I got a job with the Federation. That's actually how we kind of met. So we are still involved. For me, it's really important. There's one agency that not only supports Jews, but also here in Las Vegas, just anyone that needs help, just assistance. It's called Jewish Family Agency. And so we do donate and continue to help Las Vegas in general that way. But I think as far as the Jewish community, we're Jewish, and so we go to the events. It works for our kids.
This town is pretty small.
Yeah, it's small. So there are great networking opportunities.
And we work word of mouth a lot. So being part of certain networking, certain social groups, certain communities benefits us in the business. Us being both Jewish, obviously we're going to gravitate towards the Jewish-based stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I love it. And I mean, it's just always cool to see. And it's interesting that kind of does help with business as well. I mean, the folks that I talk to that have got the most really stable, successful businesses, they're always very involved in their community, right? Whether it be a chamber of commerce somehow, or, their spiritual, religious community, whatever it is that they're into. It seems like that really has got a kind of a synergistic effect with business as well, as getting out there in the community.
Yep.
I would agree with that. I see it a lot also. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, guys, super helpful to learn more about Innovolt. You guys have got a great company. I don't know, how many companies of your size are in Las Vegas, electrical companies, but I mean, it's a substantial company. You guys got a lot of trucks running and a lot of folks there on the team. It sounds like you've got a nice footprint of things covered between residential, commercial, and industrial. And really working on the culture and building your team. If folks want to learn more about you guys, want to follow your stuff or get in touch with you personally, what's the best way to do that?
We are on Instagram. Ventura is more so than Innovolt. But giving us a call.
Facebook.
That Facebook, yeah. But definitely, you can reach us through our website, and we're always open to help people. If anyone needs advice, even admin support, just tips or what have you, we're always open to conversations. Like this man never doesn't. He always is always picking his phone up, or on texting and email, but always willing to help. So
Fantastic.
electrical services were around. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And the site is Innovolt-electric.com. So INNOVOLT-electric.com
Correct.
in Las Vegas.
If they need, AV, or just control forward, Crestron, anything in their home, that's Ventura Integrated Systems.
Okay, Ventura Integrated Systems in Las Vegas as well. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Great. Well, this has been fun, you guys. Thank you so much for jumping on the show and teach us some cool stuff about your business.
Thank you. Hopefully we helped somebody.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, well, we will be in touch and talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks so much.
Mark.
Bye.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.